The 49ers have a phenomenal problem on their hands. What's up? Welcome to the best 49ers show. We're the best 49ers hosts, Cohn, Ryan G, Hensley. Niners are 3-0. They're undefeated. We're going to find out about Nick Bosa later today. He's getting imaging done now, so we can't talk about that yet, but we can talk about Ricky Pearsall, the team's weaknesses, their strengths. And I guess we should start with the quarterback, Mac Jones. 2 starts, 2 wins, both times through at least 39 times. It wasn't always pretty, but he increased his value. And I guess the question is, what should the Niners do with Mac Jones? He's under contract this year, next year. Should they trade him?
I don't think they should trade him this year, but I think there's a lot of teams that should trade for him. Mac Jones is playing at a starter level right now. If you take Mac Jones's statistics for 2 games and you spread it out over 17 games, he's trending 4,785 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 8.5 interceptions, or 9 interceptions, however you want to look at it. That's a really good season by any stretch of the imagination for any quarterbacks. And there are a lot of teams throughout the NFL that should be looking to trade for Mac Jones. I'd be calling the 49ers if I was Atlanta or Cleveland or Miami or New Orleans, the Bengals, the Raiders. Like, Mac Jones is better than the quarterbacks that they have right now in those places. Obviously, Burrow's hurt. That's why I said the Bengals. But if I'm at one of those NFL teams, I'm calling for Mac Jones. He's showing that he is a starting level quarterback. So the 49ers have 2 starters in the quarterback room.
Yeah, Mac Jones could save Cincinnati's season if they had him. He's much better than Jake Browning. And I think you could argue he just saved the Niners season. I don't think the Niners win in New Orleans or against the Cardinals if their quarterback is Josh Dobbs or Brandon Allen or whoever they had last, or Tanner Mordecai. So I would not trade Mac Jones. Like, I wouldn't. Obviously, if a team called up and were like, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Mac Jones. Yeah, okay. But that's not where he's at right now. He's probably worth 5th.
I think he might be worth he might be worth a 3rd. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you're worth a 3rd, I would imagine. So, like, if I'm an NFL team, I'm reaching out trying to get Mac Jones. He's proven that he's a starting level quarterback in the NFL to me through these. It's just 2 games, and obviously, if he goes to another team, that he may not look as good as he does here with the 49ers. But what he's doing without Brandon Ayuk, without George Kittle, without Juwan Jennings in this last game, without a great offensive line. And, one of the knocks on Mac Jones is his mobility. But if you get Tom Brady wasn't mobile. You just got to get the ball out quick, particularly when you don't have a great offensive line. And he's been doing that. He's not getting sacked a ton. So if I'm one of these teams, I'm reaching out for Mac Jones. But just like you, if I'm the 49ers, I don't want to do it, because if something happens to Brock, I don't know what Adrian Martinez looks like, but if something happens to Brock, you want somebody that can step in and take his place. And, Brock's been beat up quite a bit, and he has been injured quite a bit. So I would keep Mac Jones as my security blanket.
It's a conversation you could have in the offseason, because who knows, maybe he plays a couple more games and you could get a 2nd-round pick for him, and it's an offer you can't refuse. And there's other quarterbacks out there that fit the system as well and could do as good of a job backing up Purdy as Mac. So maybe you could figure that out then. But now, I'm kind of feeling like they're going to need Mac again at some point this season, or they have to at least be prepared for that, because their offensive line, it's bad. Trent's the worst he's been on this team. Connor Colby isn't good yet. McKivitz and Pooney are pretty good, and Jake Brendel's. So I think they got to have 2 quarterbacks. And what I like about Mac, we don't know how good he can be on this team yet.
It's true.
We don't know. So far, the start's been pretty good, all things considered, but we haven't seen him play with Kittle yet. We haven't seen him play with all the weapons yet. I'd like to see it before you're trading him, because we've seen Brock, and it's good. It is really good. But my other thing with Brock is he getting better? Like, is his best football ahead of him every year? His time to throw slowly goes up every year. The injuries pile up. You're either getting better, or you're getting worse. And if he's not getting better, that's another reason to have another quarterback on the roster who could improve just because they haven't been in this system before.
Yeah, and also what I like about Mac Jones is same thing I like about Kendrick Bourne. Same thing I like about Diamador Lenore. Same thing I like about the kicker, Eddie Pinero, is his energy. Like that's important, right? Like last year we were talking about the vibes were down. And a lot of that is, maybe Debo's vibes can be down a little bit, and sometimes Brandon Ayuk, that whole thing could be down a little bit. Moody just always looks miserable and unhappy. What's his name? The guy that walked off the field. So Devondre Campbell, like getting rid of those guys. I hate using this word, but it's like a locker room cancer. I hate that. I wish it was a better word. But these guys are energy guys. It's a big bonus outside of just playing their position, like the energy that they bring. That's what the guys I talk about, Kendrick Bourne, same thing, man. He just brings that good energy that you need that helps teams when they need that.
Yeah, and I feel like this team lacked it last year. I mean, for whatever reason, Debo had his grievances. He smacked the long snapper, Devondre Campbell. And, if Tom Brady were the quarterback of that team, he would have said something to Debo Samuel on the sideline. He would have said something to Devondre Campbell. He would have asserted himself in some way. His leadership would have been felt. I don't know if Mac Jones can do that, but I know that Brock didn't do it last year. And so, yeah, I think it's nice to have a quarterback with a different energy. I'm not exactly sure how I would describe Brock's energy, and it's been good, but last year it wasn't necessarily transcendent, and it seems like this team wasn't having fun last year, and Mac Jones is one of the reasons that this team is having fun again. Winning is the main reason. He's contributed to that, and the defense has as well.
Yeah, and I think Brock has good energy for being the leader, being the CEO of the organization in that regard, and Mac's in a position as the backup where he doesn't have to be that. He can just be the fun guy, right? Like if you're the leader of the franchise as the quarterback, you might need to bring a different energy. I'm not sure if it would be the same if he was the starter and had that pressure on him, but as a backup, fantastic.
One more thing I like about Mac, I like the way Kyle calls games for him. I feel like since Kyle's been here, he came from Atlanta where he would, feel comfortable calling a lot of passes for Matt Ryan. That was a vertical passing offense, a very aggressive passing offense. And he comes here and he's building this yak offense with quarterbacks he doesn't really trust. And with Jimmy, they didn't like to call a lot of passes. Famously the 8-pass game in the NFC Championship. With Brock, they don't really like to call a lot of passes. They don't really do no huddle, hurry up that much with Brock. With Mac, I mean, there's no huddle every game. They call like 40 to 45 dropbacks. He really trusts Mac, which is refreshing.
Yeah, man. Something I was just thinking about is like if Brock comes back this week, and I think he will. That's my guess. And Mac Jones re-injured that PCL sprain, I believe. So Brock is going to play this weekend.
Most likely. Could be Adrian Martinez.
You never know. But I'm hoping that Brock doesn't try to do too much. Like, hey, Mac's been balling these last 2 weeks. I got to come out and take the reins again, and tries to be the deep ball thrower that Mac has been. I just hope Brock comes back and plays within himself, because that was the problem with him a little bit last year. And then even in that first game, just a little bit too aggressive, just trying to do a little bit too much. So hopefully Brock comes back and doesn't feel like he has to be that guy. And real quick, another energy guy, big energy guy that's made a huge difference on this team is Robert Saleh. I think that's can't be overstated.
Yeah, energy is the word of the day, and it's night and day from last year. Even 2023, they were so overwhelmingly talented, but the energy was off. They were never really bought in with Steve Wilkes. He's kind of more of a low energy, thoughtful thinker, cerebral coach. He's a good coach, but to me, that's Kyle. You have your cerebral, dour offensive coordinator, and we've seen throughout the years he's balanced so well by a guy like Saleh or D'Amico, because football is an emotional sport, much more than other sports. And Kyle doesn't seem to provide much emotion.
Yeah, you need that. So you need, if you're running a business, whatever it is you're doing, coaching, you need to find people that are good in areas where you're not, and that helps you as a unit. And that's what Robert Saleh is for Kyle Shanahan. Saleh brings that energy, that positivity, that emotion that you don't really get from Kyle. So I think that's why they're very good together. And yeah, and I think Mac Jones is kind of that guy in the quarterback room as far as like emotion, having fun, making it fun for these guys. Winning is fun, also, but it's the vibes, right? The Kendrick Bourne vibes, and I really like Eddie Pinero and what he seems to be bringing in that regard, also.
What I like most about Mac, he's thrown a lot of passes, only one pick. That's refreshing. 80 passes, one pick. Man, I can't remember the last time Brock did something like that. And the hurry up offense. We've seen these quarterbacks struggle so hard to make Kyle happy and to do what he wants. And you know what I mean? Like, we've seen Brock, we've seen Mac, we've seen Jimmy. They can do it. But it's so refreshing to see a quarterback just take over and hurry up to the line of scrimmage, get the ball, and him decide where the ball is going to go. I mean, the first pass of that drive went to Ricky Pearsall. Ricky wasn't open. Mac was like, fuck it. I'm not throwing to you anymore. Next pass, Sky Moore. No. Jake Tonjes, Sky Moore, Kendrick Moore. Like, that was really cool. He was just going to the open man. He was in great rhythm. And I mean, I feel like I haven't seen a Niners quarterback do something like that in a very long time.
Yeah, I agree, man. And Brock does have a little bit of pressure on him. I know he's secure. He's got the big contract, so that's going to work in his favor. He's been here for a while, but I mean, if he comes out and stinks up the place, like right now, Brock's 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's 1-to-1 interception touchdown ratio. That's not good. Whereas Mac is 4-to-1, much better. They just won 2 games in a row. So Brock's got to come back and play within himself, not try to do too much, but he can't stink up the place. He stinks up the place, then it is going to get a little weird, right? Like, you just won 2 games in a row with Mac, looked fantastic, and then Brock came in. Like, I think they're going to beat the Jags. They better beat the Jags. But then they got a game against the Rams, and they're a good opponent. And Brock struggled and lost his opportunity against the Rams last year when he could have won it. So it is going to be interesting. I think it's good for the 49ers and good for this fan base that Brock is coming back this week, because if this would continue with Mac Jones, it would create some kind of controversy, I would imagine.
And I think this should show Brock that, like, dude, you need to play more like Mac, in the sense that stop holding the ball so long. That's a you thing, because Mac's not doing it and he's not getting sacked. Stop holding the ball so long. Stop running around so much, because that style of play is going to lead to 2 things. Lots more interceptions and more injuries. You got to get rid of the ball. I know you want to be a playmaker to justify the contract, but if you're throwing picks and getting hurt, you're going to get replaced and you're going to hurt the team. Can't have that contract on the bench. You got to play. So play like Mac.
Yeah, sometimes I relate it to basketball, like high school basketball. The kids that have all this athletic talent, they kind of rely on that too much. The kids that don't develop their skill set, right, because they don't have that athleticism to rely on. It's almost the same thing with Brock, because he knows how quick he is and how great he is at escaping the pocket. But at times, I think that it can be a negative, because he relies on a little bit too much when he should just stay in the pocket and get the ball out, run the offense. So Brock's got to find that balance.
AI 25 says, with Purdy's recent injury history, you can't trade Mac.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, Mac kept the season afloat. They would be 1-2 right now if they didn't have Mac. Front row says, off topic, what's the best burrito spot in the city of SF, or overall food place if visiting? I mean, the best burrito spots are often in the Mission. You can, like, any of them in the Mission
burrito, right? That's the spot for the burrito. Yeah.
I'm not from San Francisco, so I couldn't tell you which one's the best, but they're all good over there if you go to the Mission.
Yeah.
If you're in the mood. But I mean, if you want the real Mexican food, you got to come to Oakland. Josh Wyatt says, can we address the elephant in the room? Yes. This can't be a quarterback controversy, because the moment Mac is named the starter, his agent will ask for $30+ million.
Well, he's in contract.
My point is, like, dude, you can ask for whatever you want, but the Niners can keep finding guys like this. Look at Minnesota, dude. Oh, JJ McCarthy might not work out. Oh, well, they just scored 48 points with Carson Wentz, who's on his 11th team. You can find quarterbacks who were former first-round picks, who've been in bad situations, maybe injured, put them with Justin Jefferson or a good play caller and some good players, and it's like, oh my God, he's winning good again. Like the Niners can do this. You don't have to spend just for the sake of spending.
There's only a couple of players, and we'll talk about it. I think it's one of our subjects that you need on this team. It seems like, and the rest you can find pretty cheap, reliable backup players that can produce at a decent level for much more cheap, much more.
It's crazy to think that the Niners spent a 3rd-round pick on a kicker when Eddie Pinheiro is the Eddie Pinheiros of the world are just chilling on the couch. All right. Yeah. Ricky Pearsall stepped up, 11 targets, 8 catches, more than 100 yards. He is explosive. He's among the league leaders in receiving yards. Would you consider him a budding superstar?
I think superstar is a strong word, but legit. He leads the 49ers in receiving yards with 281 yards. So he's leading the 49ers right now with receiving yards. I think he's became a dude. That's what he's officially a dude. Like, I think there's no question now that Ricky Pearsall is a legitimate wide receiver, top 2 on this team. Him and BA are probably the best 2 wide receivers this team has. We'll see what Robinson looks like. He's coming back this week. But yeah, I think Ricky Pearsall has established himself as a legitimate wide receiver on this team. And he's going to be here for a few more years, participating and being a big part of it, man. Like, it's great to see because the 49ers spent a 1st-round pick on him, a late first on him, and we just haven't seen that develop until this year. And this year, he looks legit. I can only imagine what this team would look like with a healthy Brandon Ayuk, a healthy George Kittle, and a healthy Ricky Pearsall in the receiving game.
I like him a lot. I'm not sure that he's going to be a superstar. I don't want to be negative. He's a really good player, but I feel like they're kind of over targeting him right now because they have no choice. And I think when Jennings comes back and Kittle comes back, they're not going to throw to him nearly as much. And he may be even more effective getting 6 or 7 targets a game as opposed to 11, because it's an interesting stat. When he's targeted this year, the Niners quarterback rating is 71 because they've thrown 2 picks when thrown to him, and he doesn't catch touchdown passes right now. So I was looking at the all 22 of the interception from Mac, and I'm a huge Mac apologist. What I thought was interesting about the play, and I'm not going to put it on the screen because they'll demonetize the stream, but Mac throws the ball before Ricky makes his break, and he fires it in there. He trusts Ricky. Ricky's been balling. Ricky comes out of his break like he didn't expect the ball to come to him. Kind of just floats, and then he's like, oh, the ball's there, and he's not even positioned to break it up. And he never caught another pass in that game. In 2 years, I think he'd catch that pass. Like, he wouldn't float through that route in the 4th quarter with the game on line. He'd expect the ball. He'd want the ball. He seems so surprised. And if he's a little inconsistent right now, you can't be giving him 11 targets. So I like him, but I don't trust him in traffic. I think that's an interception waiting to happen. He's great outside the numbers, down the field, that fade route, that catch on damn. But there's I wouldn't call him the total package. He's very good at certain things.
Yeah, his hands look like he might have the best hands on the team right now. Great hands. I like Ricky a lot. I think I'll take the opposite, just defend him a little bit. He probably didn't think he was going to get the ball because he was completely covered right there. Now, Kyle Shanahan in the press conference said, I would have liked to see Ricky go break that up, try to put an effort in to break that up. And maybe that's where he, gets to at some point in his career. But I think he probably just was like, man, in a way, I'm getting the ball. There's hella dudes right here, right? Like, that's probably what his thought process was. But probably. You can't assume that. You still got to assume you're going to get the ball and go make a play. So
the way I saw that play is it was zone, and he made an in-breaking cut, and he needed to, and there was a safety waiting right there in quarters coverage. Yeah. And Mac wanted to fit the ball into Ricky in that small window because, that's the receiver on the team. And I don't know if Ricky felt like he was late in the progression and Mac wasn't going to come to him, or he just didn't want to make a tough catching traffic. Like, that's a catch to me that Juwan Jennings makes. Like, he's gonna beat the safety to the spot, take the hit, catch the ball. That's not Ricky's gonna fall. Like, he's gonna get knocked over on that play. He's not that physical. He creates separation, but if you're throwing a ball where you're leading him into a safety, I wouldn't do that. And I think maybe Mac learned that, Kyle learned that. Like, that's Kendrick Bourne. I'd call that play for Kendrick Bourne or Jennings, or Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, the receiver position on the Niners in general it's almost a blessing in disguise that they have so many injury in the preseason and training camp, because now they're so deep. Like Watkins, I don't even think we'll see him this year. I really don't. Like, with this injury that's going to put him out, like whatever it was, 2, 3, 4 weeks. When he comes back, Brandon Ayuk will be here. Robinson comes back this week. Ricky Pearsall is playing great. Juwan Jennings is going to be ahead of him. Kendrick Bourne is probably going to be ahead of him. So this wide receiver room is hella deep, which is a good thing. But I think Ricky Pearsall has established himself as a solid like wide receiver 2 on this team, and he can fill in as wide receiver 1 when they're not there. But I feel like he's a wide receiver 2, and he's fantastic at what he does. Like, he had another opportunity. Like, despite how great his numbers were, he was open deep down the left side. I forget what route he ran, and Mac Jones overthrew it. So, I mean, he could have had even more. Like, his route running is so, what's the word? Slithery. Like, he doesn't look as fast as he is. Like, I know he's fast, but he doesn't look like when he's running, he's just very smooth, and somehow his route running and just pops open.
I'm gonna get racial for a second. I feel like with most white people, you're like, oh, they're stiff, right? You can't, like, you might be fast, but like, you can't dance. You have no rhythm. But Ricky, like, we know he can dance. We've seen Ricky dance. Ricky is, and that he moves like that on the field. Like, he's the kind of guy who isn't just fast in a straight line. He's a really slippery, slithery athlete, and it's why he's so good at getting open. If they kept targeting him the way they're targeting him now, he could go for 1,500 yards this year. But I don't think they ultimately should or will. Maybe next year when it's his 3rd year in the league and he's, not, and he's expecting the ball on every play and not, like, a little bit more consistent is all I'm trying to say. And I think we like Ayuk got there in year 3, maybe 4. I think Pearsall could have that kind of could continue to ascend over time.
Yeah, he's a great deep threat too, right? Like, and hopefully Brock can take advantage of that. Brock's good at deep balls when he gets the ball out quick and times it, and they may be able to build that relationship. Mac Jones can get it there for sure. So it's great having him there. Ricky might end up just taking the top off the defense a little bit, like let Brandon Ayuk work underneath when he gets back. So I like Ricky, man. I'm glad he's on the team. It was a good pick by Kyle. I was a little bit hesitant on that one. Like, I want to see, because of the things you heard about him beating man, but Kyle finds ways to get him open. And I think he's better at beating man. Maybe against press, that's an issue for him, but he's a terrific route runner. So if you give him some space, he's going to cook you.
I'm still thinking about quarterbacks. 2 of the smartest additions this offseason in the NFL. Smartest. Mac Jones, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Balling.
Yeah.
And it goes to remind you, like, man, a lot of these guys, they're drafted in the 1st round for a reason. They're really talented. They get taken by one of the worst franchises in the league, and they're like, hey, save us. Impossible. And then you send that guy at 28 with a bunch of experience and battle scars to a team that's actually, competent. You don't know what can happen. I mean, we don't even know how good Daniel Jones can be. We don't have any idea how good Mac Jones can be. And I think that's instructive to the rest of the league.
It's why I don't believe in QB wins as a statistic. I mean, there's so many examples. Look at Jimmy when he left the Niners. Mm-hmm. Here's another one. Look at Baker Mayfield right now. The Browns and the Panthers couldn't do anything with him. Now he's on the Bucks, and he looks like a top 10 quarterback in this league. So good. Who knows what would Brock Purdy look like on the Browns?
How many quarterbacks would you really take over Baker Mayfield? 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe
7 or 8, maybe
top 7.
He's up there, man. He's got moxie. The kid's got moxie.
He's the quarterback that Brock Purdy stands think Brock Purdy is.
A friend of mine said he reminds him of Brett Favre. That's who Baker reminds him of. I thought that was a good comp.
He's fiery. He's a real leader. I don't think he would let Deebo Samuel smack someone on his team. I don't think he'd let Devondre Campbell quit mid-game. He's fiery in ways that like Trevor Lawrence isn't. Not even going to place Trevor Lawrence next week. He is so nice. He's like the Marvin Harrison Jr. of quarterbacks, just like super quiet and nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like not scary whatsoever.
And I think he has 4 touchdowns and 4 picks right now. So
he sucks.
Yeah. Have the 49ers had any interceptions this year? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember. Spencer. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think they have, and they need to turn that up. Maybe one. Who was it? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think
I'll look it
Donald
up, but
threw one. I don't think Rattler threw one. JC says Kyle does not elevate quarterbacks without BP and Jimmy Garoppolo. He is 7-29. The record says Kyle's system isn't that good without a good quarterback.
Kyle does not elevate quarterbacks without Brock Purdy and Jimmy G. He is 7. He's also 2-0 with Mac Jones.
Yeah, like what? We didn't learn anything from these last 2 weeks? He absolutely elevates quarterbacks. He elevated Brock. He elevated. What was Jimmy without Kyle? Nothing. And here's the thing. Brock Purdy's best football will be here. Mac Jones' best football will be here. I'm not even a Kyle guy. That's the facts. Brock will never play better football than he's playing on this team in this system. And the same goes for Mac Jones, and the same was true for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Some players, it's not the case. If you fit Kyle's system, 100%. Guys like Trey Lance, I think Trey Lance will have better success at some point on a different team.
Yeah, Trey Lance was a straight up project that didn't get.
Yeah, he doesn't fit Kyle's system. Wasn't ready. Right, you have to be ready. You have to understand how to read defenses and understand the offense and get the ball out quick. If you can do those things, you'll have success in Kyle's system.
Until you get injured. And look, not to be flippant about that. 3 games, 2 quarterback injuries. We don't know how severe Mac Jones' knee injury is. He could be out a month for all we know. He could need surgery for all we don't know. And then in the preseason, Tanner Mordecai got hurt. Gus Bradley's kid, Carter Bradley. 4 quarterbacks have gotten injured. We're not even at week 4 yet. So I'm just saying that's the other problem with Kyle Shanahan. But the system works. It's just that the application gets the quarterbacks injured. Yeah. Sean says Pearsall made that draft class look better. If Brock Purdy plays B- in 2025 or gets injured again, is Purdy traded, or will there be a quarterback competition in 2026? They can load this team next season with Mac. Dude, if Brock regresses, no one's going to want to trade for that contract. Again, what team is looking at Brock thinking, man, Kyle's messing up? We could do better with Brock. Just like the Raiders did better with Jimmy. We could do better with Brock. Not going to happen.
Yeah, if that was to happen, I know we're speculating, but if that was to happen, Sean, what teams would learn is that you don't pay the quarterback. Instead, you get the Mac Jones for whatever, $4 million a year. That's what you do, right? Because they just showed you if that happened, then that would be an example of why you do that.
Yeah, you draft quarterbacks in round 1. You don't trade 3 first-round picks for them, but you draft quarterbacks in round 1, and you sign quarterbacks who were drafted in round 1, and you can get really good, like Bryce Young. Hell of a player in my eyes. Nothing he can do in Carolina. He'll be a free agent in a couple of years. You could probably get him for 2 years, $10 million. So many guys like that. That's what I mean, the Sam Darnold, really, the Baker Mayfields. Yeah.
Unless you're like a top 7, 8 quarterback, your team regrets paying you.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. That's how it is.
But what you can do is you can spend that money on everything else and bring in a guy with first-round talent and actually unlock it because the team is good. As opposed to having a terrible team and asking some kid to be a savior when he won't.
Right.
Yup. G-Code says, keep Mac 26-27 season or trade for picks. What's his value?
I'd say right now he could get a 3rd and a 5th. That would be my guess.
Teams get really desperate. Let's see what the Bengals do. Joey Mellon says, if Niners keep up the wins, should they make a midseason trade? If so, who and what position?
Depends on what we hear about Bosa. It depends on what we hear about Bosa.
Yep. Yeah, they might need an end. They need a guard. They might need a corner. But it's a little early. Good question.
The problem with linemen is it's really hard to insert them mid-season. Like you need
maybe they could trade for Aaron Banks.
Yeah, somebody that's familiar. Yeah.
I wasn't saying they should give Aaron Banks $19 million a year, although that's kind of what you have to pay for starting offensive linemen who don't suck. But replacing him with Ben Bartch was never a viable solution, man. And the fact that he's hurt immediately is like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I would really like to talk on. I guess we'll do it in another subject. We got another topic where I'll cover that. Yeah.
All right, we'll get through these last two super chats and then we'll go to the next topic. Michael Mock says, "What's your opinion of Purdy's value for trade?" I think that contract's going to be hard to move, and plus the Niners have to take on a ton of dead cap to move him. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's here for 2 years. Yeah. He's here. So that's that. Agreed. JC says Kyle elevated Mac to 16 points, low bar.
Like let's talk about like the reality here, JC. The run game is awful, right?
Yeah.
Mac Jones did that without Brandon Ayuk, without George Kittle, without Juwan Jennings, and no run game with Christian McCaffrey averaging 3.1 yards per carry.
Yep. I mean, that's a recipe for a loss right there, no matter who you're facing. Yeah. And they found a way. Now, Eddie Pinheiro gets a lot of credit, and Brock lost a lot of games, but Jake Moody was kicking in, and I my heart goes out to him for that. That's not his fault. He didn't draft Jake Moody. But okay, let's stick with the positives before we go back to the weaknesses. What are the biggest positives so far from this team 3-0 start?
I mean, there's a lot. I think one that we talked about earlier, I just want to jump on real quick again, is the wide receiver room. I really think having those injuries actually helped them in the long run, because once these dudes come back, I mean, like guys like Watkins aren't even going to see the field because they're so good. Probably, I'm guessing, right? You got Ricky Pearsall when Juwan comes back, Brandon Ayuk comes back, Kendrick Bourne looks solid. I was always glad they got him. Demarcus Robinson comes back after he comes back this week. So the talent at the 49ers wide receiver room is very deep. It's not, they don't really have like that dude. Like they don't have no Justin Jefferson on this team or Jamar Chase, but they got a lot of really good wide receivers that fit this offense really well. So I think the depth on the wide receiver room is one of the positives.
Yeah, if they can ever get them all on the field at the same time. It's nice that Robinson's coming back. I think he had a really good offseason, and they just need someone. Ricky needs people that are big and tough to complement him, because he's the deep threat, and he's a really good deep threat. I called him the white Odell Beckham Jr., and I stand by that. Anyway,
yeah,
the defense, dude. Small. The defense, dude. They're second in points allowed. No, third in points allowed, fourth in yards allowed.
Yeah,
they haven't given up 20 points in a game yet. I mean, they can stop the run. Mykel Williams is exactly as advertised, if not better. Bryce Huff is really good. D. Winters is really good. Upton Stout is good. Marquise Siegel's good. Like, Fred Warner is the best defensive player in the NFL, in my opinion. And we'll see what happens with Bosa. But even if Bosa misses time, I think it's going to be a good defense.
I mean, even Alfred Collins and CJ West contributed to look good. There was a time where all three of those guys were out there. The first, second, and third round picks of this draft were out there doing well. And like you said, man, like I'm sure at some point not having Bosa would definitely come to light like as a problem, but it wasn't yesterday. And I'm sure they can win a lot of games even without him, because of Huff can take his spot. And as long as Mykel Williams can be out there, they might need another straight pass rusher if Bosa's out for a long period of time. But they didn't seem to miss him much in the game yesterday. You couldn't really tell a difference, honestly. So I agree. This defense, a lot of us were like, hey, there's going to be some learning curves, and there probably are.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing, is they're just going to get better. D. Winters looks fantastic. Fred Warner's the best linebacker to maybe ever play the game, honestly. He's one of them. Diamador Lenore is locking people up. They got a couple weaknesses, and we'll talk about that more, like about who they can't lose. But, I mean, Malik Mustafa is going to be back after this game, most likely. I don't know, because it's a Thursday night game. He might not play against the Rams, but I would expect him, if he doesn't play in week 5, he'll play in week 6. Malik Mustafa is an absolute beast. I think Nick Martin is just sitting behind D. Winters, but he has a ton of potential. This defense is extremely young, and they're being orchestrated by maybe the best defensive play caller in the NFL. That's how I feel right now. What Robert Saleh has done with this unit, it's unheard of, honestly.
And what he's doing with Bryce Huff, too. I mean, He created Bryce Huff in New York. The Howie Roseman threw money at Bryce Huff, gave him to Vic Fangio, who a lot of people would say is the best defensive coordinator in the league. Vic Fangio had no fucking clue what to do with Bryce Huff. Discarded him midway through the season, won the Super Bowl anyway. Then the Niners get Bryce Huff on discount. The Eagles are paying more for Bryce Huff than the Niners are right now. And guess who was the Niners' highest graded defensive player yesterday, according to Pro Football Focus? You guessed it, Bryce freaking Huff, 90.1 rating. He had 28 pass rush snaps and had 5 pressures. I mean, what a great addition. He's everything they hoped D Ford was going to be, but he's actually healthy.
I think isn't he the one? I don't remember, but and that was awful. What happened to Connor? I think he might have been the guy that hit him. If I'm correct, in the backfield.
I'm not sure.
Not that.
I didn't want to watch that play. I did watch that play. Yeah.
Not that that's a good thing or anything, but the fact that he was back there to make that play, Huff's fantastic. There's not a lot of weaknesses on this defense. If I was going to try to point out one that's a slight concern, might be Renardo Green. He hasn't looked amazing. He has not elevated as much as I was hoping from last year to this year. We'll see though. It's early stuff.
Yeah, when we talk about biggest weaknesses, I just might talk about him.
I'm jumping in.
I'm not done with positives yet. The PFF just came out with their grades for the game, and I think it's interesting. It's some person's take. It's not like this is, like an algorithm doing it. But hey, highest graded player on defense from this game, Bryce Huff. I can see that. Highest graded player on offense from this game. Yes.
Highest graded player, Ricky.
That's who I would have guessed. He's number 3.
The highest graded player on offense yesterday.
Yeah.
What? Mac Jones?
Yes.
I don't know.
Mac Jones 1, Trent Williams 2, Ricky Pearsall 3, Brian Robinson 4, Colton McKivitz tied for 4th. It's PFF. Take it with a giant grain of salt, but Mac Jones played pretty good yesterday, man.
Yeah, I don't understand. I see some people in the chat. I saw it on Twitter during the game. Some people thought Mac Jones wasn't doing good, and I don't understand that. I mean, outside of the interception, and maybe he should have threw the ball away on that safety, but really, I blame the guy. I can't even think of who it is. The guy who don't fair catch it under the 5. Yeah. What are you doing? Let it bounce. So I thought Mac Jones actually evaded that. It was Pooney who held right there. So I thought Mac Jones played good. I don't understand why people didn't agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, the Niners would be blowing this team out if Brock Purdy were playing. They'd have so many more points. Really? Are you sure? Don't want to
understand.
Kendrick Bourne.
I think the run game, and we'll talk about it, but having no run game, and I don't think people realize the 49ers cannot run the ball, and teams know this, so they're preparing for passing.
I mean, okay, yeah. So let's talk. That's a good segue. Biggest weaknesses on this team right now. I'll start the run game. It's horrendous. And it's not just one thing. It's not just the fact that Christian McCaffrey isn't what he used to be, although it is partly that. I don't see him break many tackles. It feels like at this point he gets what's blocked for him, and he doesn't have that elite generational burst that he had just 2 years ago. So that's part of it, but the other part of it is clearly the blocking. I mean, if you go back and watch the film, they didn't run to the left at all in the first half. Every single run was designed to go to the right, and I think that's because they like Colton McKivitz and Dominic Pooney. They like those two, blocking together. On the other side, Connor Colby, sometimes he makes a good block. Sometimes he whiffs entirely. Sometimes he ends up on his back. I mean, that's a gamble running to the left at this point, and they know it. So that's problem.
If you take out Robinson's run outside on the right and Christian McCaffrey's runs on the left on the outside, if you take those away and you just look at the runs between the tackles, it's even worse than what the numbers show. It's really, they can't run between the tackles at all. No. And, part of it is definitely Christian, just not quite the same guy from a running standpoint, doesn't look like it. But I think more so it's just blocking. I just don't think the perfect example, and this is one of the biggest weaknesses, on that goal line, 49ers could not punch the ball in on the goal line. They have the lightest offensive line in the NFL. They're one of the oldest. They just don't have big dudes, big bodies that can just push and get you that short yardage on the goal line, man. So
say what you want about Aaron Banks, who Niner fans were super happy to see leave. He's a big body who could push. And they always, Laken Tomlinson was a big body who could push. They always had a 325-pound left guard that they could run inside zone behind. He could combo block with the center or Trent Williams. And now they don't. It was supposed to be Ben Barch, and he is a pretty good run blocker, but he gets hurt every game. So now it's Connor Colby, and he's a rookie, a 7th-round pick. If he were physically imposing, he would have been a 1st-round pick. This is what you're going to get.
Yeah. I want to tie, like, maybe we'll tie the next subject with this one, because I think this is something I was really thinking about. Think about all the guys that they paid, and then think about the guys they don't really invest in, which is this offensive line. All the guys they paid, the Brandon Ayuk's, the Brock Purdy's, the George Kittles, like, those guys are injured, and they're not skipping a beat with their backups. The unit that they haven't invested in is this offensive line, and it's the biggest problem. And if they lose Trent Williams, forget about it, man. Like, I think what we're seeing here is, like, where you prioritize is in the trenches. They did it on the D line, and they're having great results. Now they need to go on the O line with the same attention.
I agree, man. It seems to me that if Kyle believes in himself, if the organization believes in Kyle, and he's truly, truly special, and in certain ways he is, then embrace it. Like, what he can't control is the blocking. That has nothing really to do with scheme. I mean, on the outside zone runs, it does. He can't really control the defense. So spend your money on the O-line and the defense and trust that Kyle can scheme up the rest. Now, obviously, he's going to need talent, but you don't need to spend $30 million a year for it. Get a guy in round 1, have him for 4 years, and it'll work. You don't need to spend $50 million on a quarterback. Sign a bunch of them who fit his system, who were 1st-round picks, the Darnolds and Mac Jones of the world. Like, you could be one of the only teams that builds a team like that because you have Kyle Shanahan. That's the whole point.
If someone would make Kyle get out of his own way, take away that power and be like, Kyle, you're freaking amazing with this offense and this scheme, and what you do with these wide receivers and these quarterbacks is fantastic. But the fact that you won't invest in this O-line is what's killing you. So we're going to take away your power. We're going to make you invest in the offensive line this year. If someone would do that, like, they could win a Super Bowl with this team. That's what's missing from this team. That's what's been missing from this team, is just they don't have dudes on that line outside of Trent Williams, who's 37 years old now. So they really just that is what's missing from this team. That's what's been missing from this team for a long time. And Kyle's got to get out of his own way. John Lynch has to, like, really put his foot down. Jed York, like, man, if you had an O-line, Kyle, you would probably be a Super Bowl champion right now. Let's get that O-line for you, because you can do wonders with these wide receivers and these quarterbacks.
Yeah. And if you had an offensive line, maybe your quarterbacks would stay healthy. If you had an offensive line, maybe they'd play even better. And as long as you can get guys like Ricky Pearsall to play like this on their rookie contracts, then what are you paying the Brandon Ayuk's of the world that much money for? And I like Brandon, but that's a lot of money. And it's not something you have to do. More weaknesses on this team. It's not just the running game. Renardo Green is starting to concern me. Teams are going after him. I mean, he's busting coverages. He's committing penalties, long penalties. Like, when he gets burned, it's for a lot of yards. And you can't keep this guy in the lineup if he's that big of a liability, because I'd like to see what, Chase Lucas could do out there, or Darrell Luter Jr. Like, he had a rough offseason. He missed all of training camp. He's their weak link right now on defense. I'm concerned about Renardo.
Yeah, someone asked earlier with a super chat, asked about what we should trade for. A corner is a perfect position to trade for. If you're going to trade for something, trade for a corner, because that's pretty much plug and play. A great corner you can just insert right away. It's different from the offensive line that really has to understand the scheme and the blocking assignments. With a corner, you could just trade for him, put him on an island. So, yet Green he's had good moments, but honestly, there's been a lot of moments where he get absolutely cooked, turned around. And corner's the hardest position in the NFL to play, but guys like Deommodore Lenoir show you the difference between his level and Green's. Now, I'm not going to write off Green. It's still early in his career, But if you're looking at that defense, the DB spot, the corner spot specifically, is one of the weaknesses. Safety looks fantastic. Nickel looks fantastic. Demo's fantastic. It's just that corner 2, that's a little bit of a concern. Like, that's the one weakness that you might see on this defense, but hopefully he snaps out of it.
And, it's funny. We forgot to put this guy in the biggest positives. It's incredible how much 2 weeks changes everything. Because for like 2 years, up until 2 weeks ago, we were just constantly harping on the kicker position. He was like the biggest weakness on the team. Now he's gone, and kicker isn't a weakness anymore. In fact, Eddie P seems like a strength, man. I mean, he's more like Robbie Gould in that he's a guy who may not have the strongest leg, but he's accurate, which is what this team needs. So maybe I jinxed it, but so far they turned a big weakness into a big strength.
I agree. I think it's obvious the biggest weaknesses on this team. Oh, I got one more. But the biggest weakness on this team is the offensive line and running game, and maybe Leonardo right now.
Yep.
I got another one for you, though. This one, a lot of people disagree with me, but I'm looking at the first half of the game. What is it, like a minute 50 left and 3 timeouts. And I think Kyle did in the previous game also, where the goal for him is a field goal. A field goal should be what you settle for in those situations. It shouldn't be the goal. And you got to stop running down the clock. Like, he's letting the clock just run all the way down to where you're not giving yourself an opportunity to go for a touchdown. It's like his whole specific goal is, we're going to kick a field goal here. That shouldn't be the mindset. When points are hard to come by and you have the ball, that's a possession you can't take for granted. So he needs to be more aggressive. Before that half, to me, that was an opportunity to put 6 on the board. And then if you don't get it, you got a kicker that you can kick with. But you could tell by the way he was managing the clock, that was never his intention. His whole point was like, hey, let's go down here and kick a field goal before the half. He's got to change that mentality. When right now points are hard to come by, you got to take advantage of every possession and be more aggressive. I think Mac Jones was playing fantastic at that time. I would have liked to see him push it and not let the clock run down to like 20 seconds.
Okay. The Niners have lost a lot of players so far this year. They're 3-0.
Yeah.
They have an incredible ability to win with backups on the field. And maybe it's the system, maybe it's the coaching, who knows? But if there were any players on this team that you would say are truly irreplaceable, players the Niners absolutely can't afford to lose, who would they be?
I got 3. First and foremost, I know Trent is not the Trent Williams of 2-3 years ago, but he's still the most important player on this offense. You can win with Mac Jones as your backup quarterback. You could lose Purdy, and Mac Jones can win you games.
You can win with Jake Tonjes as your backup tight end.
You can win with Jake Tonjes as your backup tight end. You can win with Ricky Pearsall and Kendrick Bourne as your receivers when Brandon Ayuk goes down. What you can't do is win with Trent Williams backup, whoever that is at this moment. And, Burford being injured, I don't even know who's the backup left tackle if something was to happen.
They don't have one.
Right. So, to me, Trent, even at 85% of himself or 80%, wherever he's at, is still absolutely irreplaceable. And if he goes down, they'll lose games. So that's one of them.
So wild to think that a season depends on the 37-year-old, but it does. No backup, no succession plan, no heir apparent, nothing.
Yeah. So Trent is actually the most important player on this offensive line, even more so than Christian. I mean, even with, honestly, if they ran without Chris, they might have more success running the ball without Christian. Now, Christian is huge for the game plan and in the passing game, receiving game, but Trent is the most important player on this offense to me by far. It's not, I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like last year Christian was a player the Niners couldn't afford to lose. Now I'm like, if he's not there, I mean, maybe Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson is averaging more yards per carry than Christian this year. So maybe they actually run the ball better if it's not the Christian McCaffrey show. Now, his receiving ability definitely helps big time. But I still feel like they could win without him. Maybe I'm wrong. They couldn't win without Trent. I don't know if they win without Colton Kivitz. Losing Ben Barch has been catastrophic. Like, losing Pooney would be huge. Losing Nick Bosa, I don't know. I think the defense can still play well. If they lost Fred Warner, they're absolutely fucked.
That's
And
my
then
number 2. That's the other guy on defense. There's 2
go
guys
ahead.
on defense. Fred Warner, you brought him up. And because of Renardo, I would say Diamador Lenore is a guy you absolutely cannot lose because I don't know what you got behind him. So to me, it's those 3 guys. It's Trent, Fred, and Demo. Those are the guys that must stay healthy this year for 49ers to have success.
Lenore has become such a good cornerback. Teams just don't test him. He reminds me a lot of like Jason Verrett when he was healthy on the Niners. Kind of small, but super sticky, and teams just respected him. Like he was a shutdown corner. I feel like Lenore's kind of becoming that. I mean, whoever goes after him more than once or twice in a game ever.
And the only one that they completed yesterday was like, just it was on the line of scrimmage. That's the only way you're able to complete it. Like they don't even throw. I don't think you're going to hear a lot of from Diamador Lenore this year, and it's because he's not going to get targeted. Why would you?
Yeah. Lenore is more indispensable than Bosa because Michael Williams exists, because Bryce Huff exists. It's not just Bosa anymore. They can stop the run without him. They can manufacture a pass rush without him. Now, of course, they're better with Bosa, but if they don't have Bosa this week against Jacksonville, I'm still picking the Niners to win that game.
If you take the 3, let's narrow it down to 1. Trent, Fred, Demo. Who's the most important?
It's Trent.
I think so.
I don't know what this offense would be without Trent.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
It's
you want to say Fred because Fred's just probably the best player on the team right now. But Trent's position is so crucial for the 49ers offense, and they don't have anything else on that line really outside of
Tatum
him.
Bethune might be good. Yeah. Nick Barton might be able to play that position.
I talked about my friend who played at Florida, and he thinks Bethune is really good, man. So I think Bethune and Martin, they're actually both pretty damn good. The problem is they're behind Fred Warner and D. Winters, who are very, very good. So that linebacker unit is solid. So you could use Fred, and it'll be a huge drop-off. But if you use Trent, you're cooked.
Cooked. Complex gaming says there's nothing inconsistent about Ricky. I didn't mean it as a personal attack. I meant like the way any second-year wide receiver isn't necessarily on top of his game just yet. Go back and watch the interception. Gary Schutzel says, biggest positive, getting rid of Adam Peters. Have fun with Kinlaw and bad picks that aren't just easy layups like Jaden and Nick Bosa. Love your show, guys. Yeah, there might be something there. The Niners had those 2 awful drafts back-to-back. He leaves, and they go back to having, pretty solid drafts. And meanwhile, Washington is like brought in Kinlaw and Debo, and I don't know.
Debo's doing fantastic, by the way, which is interesting. Yeah.
As a returner, he's a good returner. All right, let's hit up some prize picks before we get to our final bonus. It's a bonus topic, but this is next week, early prize picks. Oh, wait. I dropped it. Okay, here we go. Niners against the mighty Jaguars, the fearsome Jaguars. These are just like the early ones, so it's not a more or less. It's just a more situation. If you like it, you can have the early action. McCaffrey on a touchdown.
I feel like he's got to get one at some point, right?
I mean, if they're going to give him 37 plays, I would think so. Probably.
Yeah, I would give it to him.
What about Ricky though?
Nah, I don't feel like Ricky.
I don't think so.
If he gets a touchdown, it's gonna be from far away. I don't think he's a red zone guy. Yeah,
I agree. How about Travis Etienne? I don't think so.
Running back? No, they're gonna. Nah, I don't. Maybe. I don't know. If I had to say, I would say
against this defense. I don't know.
I would say no.
What about Brian Thomas? He's having a tough year, but there's Ronaldo Green.
Nah. Who's their tight end? That's who I'd let him.
Okay.
That's who I'd give a touchdown for.
Let's go to tonight's game. Baltimore, Detroit.
Henry's getting a touchdown. He killed me. I almost won $750 last week, and he got 2 touchdowns instead of 1, and that killed me. So if it's only a half a touchdown, I'm giving it to him, no question.
Yeah, he struggled last week against the Browns, but it seems like the Browns have a legit defense.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, The Niners have an easy schedule. There's some really bad teams on the Niners schedule, but all of a sudden, Cleveland, that's an interesting game, and Indianapolis, that's an interesting game.
Cleveland, to me, was a scary game coming into the season, just because of the weather and we lost last time we were there, and the defense.
Yeah. Also, Kyle's history with Schwartz, 1-9.
Not good.
Okay, Lamar. What do you like for Lamar? 1.5 pass TDs. More on that, or rushing TDs? 0.5
fantasy score Monday night.
Fantasy score. You think he's gonna rise to the occasion?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That man has 6 touchdowns and no interceptions this year.
He's good.
I'm
just gonna say it, man. I think Lamar's good.
That's bold. That's pretty bold. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Goff. Let's end it with Goff. What do you like? Yards, touchdowns, rushing yards. If he runs for 1 rushing yard,
yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
Right? Let's see. He ran for 6 last week.
Oh, it's money. It's easy money.
Thank you, Jared. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's flex it. Drink it in with your eyes. Those are 4 correct answers. We'll submit it. Download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code COHN. Play $5. Get $50 in lineups instantly. That's COHN for the promo code. All right. This is my final thing I want to talk about. So we know that we just were talking about the Niners' biggest weaknesses. Running the ball is a pretty big one. I don't know if you guys have been following the rest of the league, kind of locked in on the Niners here. They're 3-0, but there's this other running back in Minnesota, 27.
It's pretty good.
He used to play for the 49ers. You may not remember. His name is Jordan Mason. He was on this team, didn't play that much. When he did play, really produced, always very efficient, more than 5 yards a carry. Now he's in Minnesota. He's starting, and he's still averaging more than 5 yards a carry, which is great for them. What do you think of that trade in retrospect now that we have, a little bit of data?
Same thing. I thought about it with foresight. It was a mistake to trade Jordan Mason. He was the perfect complementary back for Christian McCaffrey. He can run between the tackles. Last night, he 16 attempts, 116 yards, 7.2 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns because the other running back there is out. So now Jordan Mason is that guy. He was, I think, second behind Derrick Henry for the first 5 games last year until Christian came back. He's the perfect complementary back for Christian McCaffrey. He's a power back. You can put him between the tackles. People forget his first year or two, the only time Jordan Mason got in the game was at the end of the games to close it out when everybody knew they were just running the ball to run the clock down, and he still averaged 5 yards per carry. Jordan Mason is solid, man. He's a great back. I wouldn't have traded him. Now, I know what people are going to say is we got Siegel because we traded him. I don't care about that. You can still get Siegel with another draft pick. I don't do that math when I'm thinking about this. I'm just talking about the player that you lost. Jordan Mason, to me, he would be perfect right now. If Kyle would have kept Jordan Mason and had a 1-2 combo with Jordan Mason, Christian McCaffrey, really damn good.
I mean, I'm more interested in Mason than McCaffrey at this point in their careers anyway. Like, McCaffrey's still good, but he's like 29. He's an old 29 because he's had almost 2,000 touches in his career. Mason just turned 26, and to me, he's kind of like a young 26 because the Niners never used him. He's touched the ball 293 times in his entire career, 43 times this season. He's fresh. He runs hard. All running backs get hurt, but what is he making? $5 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Why would you give away a running back in his prime who has so much tread left on his tires? Why? So you could keep the old guy with 200,000 miles on his odometer? Why?
I mean, really, you could put Christian in the backfield with Jordan Mason. Like, why wasn't that a thing? Like, honestly, Christian could probably play a slot receiver and play for another 6 years at that position. But as a running back, he's just not quite he's just never really been a power back. Honestly, Jordan Mason was always the best running back between the tackles or on the goal line. He was as long as Jordan Mason was on the team, he was better than Christian McCaffrey between the tackles. I said that the whole time, and people get mad, and they probably still will, because I know Christian McCaffrey is loved everywhere. I love Christian McCaffrey, but that's just the truth, man. Jordan Mason runs so hard. They need him. They should have kept him. And maybe Jordan James is that guy, but we don't know.
He's inactive. I'd love to see it. So why'd they trade him? I mean, to me, they're going to say, well, it's financial. We can't pay him that much. We're already paying Christian. And maybe that's part of it, but I still feel that Kyle didn't like being told to give him the ball. For whatever reason, he didn't really want to use Jordan Mason. He drafted Ty Davis Price. He was an undrafted free agent who kind of forced his way on the team. And I don't know if Kyle didn't like his study habits or his style, but he just was never really in playing him that much. And I think people like us telling Kyle, like, hey, man, what are you doing? Made him sort of double down and got him to maybe trade him, which is too bad. Kyle, we could have just used reverse psychology like we've been doing recently, and that's been working. So maybe in the future, that's on us. We should have just kept that to ourselves, how much we like Jordan Mason, and told Kyle, don't ever use him. He's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like paying running backs in general either. But it wasn't a lot for Jordan Mason, who's in his prime. So, I mean, if you're going to pay Christian $17 million a year, whatever it is, you could pay Jordan Mason $5 million. I don't know. I didn't like letting him go, and he's fantastic, man. He's doing big things.
What was the point of trading for Brian Robinson Jr.? Why they do that?
That's a good point.
They don't even use him. He had an 18-yard run, and they immediately took him off the field and never put him back on. Like, what?
Well, it's insurance. Insurance, because if Christian goes down, knock on wood, they need somebody, you know.
And he's gonna go down if they keep giving him 25 touches a game. He's on pace for 463 this year. What is that?
That's a lot.
Wasn't the whole idea? Didn't they talk about it this year? Like, hey, given where he's at in his career, what the season he's coming off, we'd really like to preserve him. I don't. Maybe did I hallucinate them saying that? Maybe I hallucinated.
What they're doing, like Kyle talked about it, how they're dialing things up for Christian, and being that he's always available for the dump off, he gets a lot of that's not planned for him. So really, like, planning things for the other guys, because Christian's going to get his touches on the dump off anyways in the passing game is what I'm talking about. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe you shouldn't be just dialing things up for Christian. Maybe that's the way you keep his touches a little lower, because they're going to dump it off to him anyways, man. So, yeah, I mean, knock on wood, man. I hope Christian lasts all season. But at some point, I would imagine Brian Robinson has to play. At some point, I would imagine Jordan James is activated.
Christian used to be the most unique running back because, kind of like Marshall Faulk, if you got him one-on-one against a defender, that defender was not going to tackle him. Not going to tackle him. May not even touch him. That's how quick Christian McCaffrey was. Now, he's going down. He's not breaking a tackle. He's not making anyone miss. And what's crazy is, like, in the past, when he would get tackled, usually be like a glancing blow. Now, he's getting decleated every drive. He's getting smacked. And I think that's sort of just what happens when you play football a long time and you get old, man. It's not a very forgiving sport.
Yeah, man, he got cooked on that passing route. What they were going for a touchdown with Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac kind of held him out to dry. That happened to me one time in middle school. I was playing tackle football at Montera in 7th grade and at lunch, and I went out for a pass in the flat. My fault. And of course, dude, do it to me. I turned around, got lit up, and I walked off I was like, "Fuck this shit, man." I'm not.
Yeah, I've been lit up a few times.
It was okay. That's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. I remember we played. I played nose tackle and right tackle when I was younger, and I just remember we played Oakland, and I remember just big ass fullback just ran me the f over, and I was like, I'm probably not a nose tackle. Your nose tackle is not supposed to get ran over by a fullback. Yeah.
I just learned about myself. Thank you. That was education.
Yeah.
Logan Gutierrez says, if the season somehow ended now, Kyle or Saleh? I say OBJ.
If the season ended now, Kyle or Saleh? What's the question?
What's the question?
Who would we want next year as the coach? I'm a huge Saleh guy, but
I'm a Saleh guy. But I think again, Saleh needed Kyle in New York.
They need each other.
They need each other. They really do.
Yeah.
Their team. It's Nick for real says Kyle traded Mason to spite you, Grant. Thanks. That's kind of what I'm saying. I feel personally responsible for this, and I apologize. Yeah.
It was always a little weird. I also think Jordan Mason wanted to be more featured. He didn't want to be Christian's backup.
I get it. I mean, to me, he had earned an equal timeshare, and he was never going to get it. And they were going to give it to him in Minnesota. Aaron Jones goes down, and now he's actually getting to prove, just like last year, that he's going to be one of the best running backs in the league, one of the most productive running backs in the league if he's starting, unless he gets hurt. But we'll see what he does.
All right.
Pretty good this week. He's on my fantasy team, everyone. I wanted you to know that I really am true to this. I'm not faking the funk here. I believe in Jordan. And my favorite Jordan Mason story ever was last year when I compared him to Marshawn Lynch. Trent Williams compared him to Marshawn Lynch unprompted. And then I went over to Jordan and I was like, do you know who Marshawn Lynch is? And he was like, no. What? I don't really watch football like that. I'm just good at it.
He said no.
So I was like, all right, man, do me a favor. Go home, watch his highlights for 3 minutes. Come back, tell me what you think. So he comes back next day. I go to his locker. I'm like, what'd you think? And he like blushes. He's like, man, you need to stop comparing me to Hall of Famers. Stop. I'm like, no, Trent compared you.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of endearing. No idea who he is.
If you're a running back and you don't know who Marshawn Lynch is, come on, Jordan.
I feel like Kyle uses that's what he didn't like about Jordan. Like Jordan he's not a football junkie, dude. He doesn't watch the sport. He's talked about this. He's not that into it. He's just good at it.
That's crazy.
He's good at it.
Really good at it.
I mean, there's something to be said for someone who's just good at something. Kilo TW says, just got here. Any update on Nick Bosa yet? Nah, we should get that around 3:30 today. So that's the show. Ryan, great as always. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. And
I will four-man front.
Wednesdays on Patreon, four-man front. Check it out. I put a community post in on my YouTube channel. Check it out. It's $5 a month or something. Yeah. And this way, my people I work with actually getting paid. You are actually paying the people who you see with me so much. So it's a good thing to do, and it's a really good show. You like four-man front. I like doing it. So it's Wednesdays, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Western. No, Mountain.
What about in Japan? What time is it there?
Oof. I don't know, but Hawaii, it's 4 o'clock. No, it's
3.
3.
Yeah.
It's good to know. It's good to know, everyone.
Yeah.
So make sure you check that out, and I'll be back later today once we find out what's going on with Nick Bosa. Stay tuned.